Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. We have turned the page, Adam. It is time for the fantasy football playoffs. Week 15 is upon us. We've got a Thursday night game tomorrow, and we're going to start breaking down all of the matchups that we're seeing, not only this week, but throughout the rest of the fantasy playoffs. We've got some news to get to. We're talking with the one and only Matthew Berry today. Going to be another great show. How are you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. Excited the playoffs are here, so did get many teams in. I don't know how many are championship caliber, but I guess we'll find out over the next 3 weeks. As we've been saying, it's been an odd year where the landscape changes frequently, so you just need to get hot for 3 weeks to land that championship.
That's all it is. And I look at some of my teams that are in the playoffs now that I thought, you talked about this yesterday, that I thought at the beginning of the year, I said, oh, everyone's cooked. Just hand me the check now. I'm good to go. Now you get into the playoffs. I've got T. Higgins, who I don't think is going to play this week. Drake London, Sam Laporta has been placed on IR. I mean, so at the end of the day, you're happy you made the dance, but yeah, you need a little bit of luck too going into these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, you do. Injuries are always a factor. Matchups become a factor. A lot of offenses have changed. Some offenses that we thought were consistent and reliable aren't anymore. So, yeah, look, we go through this every single year, and you just got to fight your way through it. Hopefully you get the big performances you need to move on to the next round.
Who's a player that you have on do you have a similar player on most of your playoff teams, or are they all pretty different? I've got JSN is my standout. JSN is on more of my fantasy playoff teams right now than any other player when I look across my leagues, which is nice.
Well, the player that I probably have on most teams has been actually pretty bad for 6 weeks now. Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it Emeka Egbuka?
Yeah.
We can only hope. I mean, could it get worse? I guess he could give you zeros.
We do say that a lot, and many times it does get worse.
And then they say, watch this, Kendall and Adam, we can get worse. He had such a strong start to the rookie season. I think, because I was asked this yesterday, we were doing LGTV, and we had a whole segment on players that helped you get to the fantasy playoffs that might be your demise. And I put Emeka Egbuka as mine, even though, of course, over the last 6 weeks, he has not helped you, but he helped you get off to a hot start. So I kind of dug a little deep on that one, but he started the season, Adam, he was averaging 16.3 points per game over the first 9. You thought you had the league winner, and maybe he can get hot during the fantasy playoffs, but he actually has a tough schedule for the fantasy playoff run as well. I know if you add Mike Evans back into the picture, it makes it a little bit different, but the Falcons this weekend, all right, middle of the pack, right? 19th against wide receivers. Then you've got the Panthers, who are 7th, and the Dolphins, who are 9th.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, again, you hope that if Evans does come back, it draws some attention away. I mean, the confidence is a big issue right now. They're coming out and saying they have confidence in him after some drops. It's just, it has not, the synergy is not there between Baker Mayfield and Egbuka. And it's a combination of both. Is the reason why they're failing. Egbuka's had some drops, but Baker has missed them on some throws as well. So, yeah, it's doubtful that we see him put up big performances. I will just take 12 points at this point. Come on.
11, 12.
Give me 6 for 60. Give me 3 for 40 and a touchdown. Come on.
We're not kidding. That's how desperate we are to get anything out of Emeka Egbuka. Maybe we should send him a card from Fantasy Life. We believe in you. Good luck this weekend.
Will that work, you think? Help. Cards work, you think, on a guy like Egbuka? I don't know.
I love cards. You don't send cards? I love sending
not
cards.
Much. No, I'm not a big.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love sending cards. Little handwritten card. I think that would boost morale for him.
Okay, well, try it.
All right, let me.
You got less than the game is tomorrow.
Will it get there in time? Even with express shipping, probably not.
Probably not. No.
Maybe you should DM him on Instagram.
Well, why don't you just fly to the game?
Oh yeah, no, on my way for sure. I'll just hop on the plane now and get going. That should be a decent enough. We just need fantasy points, really. What are we talking about for that game tomorrow? We'll break it down. Maybe we'll send a card. But Emeka Egbuka, yeah, he's got a tougher fantasy schedule. I think too. I've got Dak Prescott, Jacoby Brissett, Adam, and I know a lot of people are probably just starting Dak Prescott, but this is technically not a matchup that you are necessarily going to enjoy this weekend. He's done a great job of almost being somewhat matchup proof. You just say, okay, I've got Dak Prescott. I'm going to keep starting him. And again, it just depends on what other quarterbacks you have. But yeah, against the Minnesota Vikings, that's a tougher task this weekend. They are the third toughest against quarterbacks for the season in terms of fantasy points. Over the past 5 weeks, they've held, well, I say Lamar Jackson, but we've seen what kind of
Yeah.
performances Lamar Jackson has put on. Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Darnold, Daniels to a combined 39.86 fantasy points. That's 8 per game.
Yeah, none of those guys are good.
Okay, so you're good to go with Dak? You're you're
Yeah,
not a little
definitely.
bit
I mean,
nervous? I'm
that
a
no.
little bit nervous.
No, why? I mean, like you said, Lamar Jackson has played poorly. Caleb Williams has been dependent on the matchup, and we've seen him really struggle. Jordan Love, did they even throw the ball that game? Wasn't that a
I
blowout?
think was
I
that a
think that was
blowout?
or 20, wasn't it like a
Let me look.
23-6, something like that? Or I'm thinking of a different game, but he
Maybe
doesn't
you're
throw
right.
the ball much at times. Sam Darnold, that game was
That was the
lopsided,
yeah.
and Jaden Daniels got hurt. So, I mean, Goff had 284 and 2 touchdowns against them. Jalen Hurts had 326 and 3 touchdowns against
All
him.
right.
Herbert had 227 and 3. Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, you're playing Dak. I mean, that offense has been pretty much rolling against everyone. He's had a down game or two. He struggled in Denver, but yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm starting him in multiple playoff leagues.
Yeah, you probably have him in a lot of your playoff teams.
I think at least 3.
That's a lot.
Is it? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it feels like a lot. I like that we're at a point right now in the season where we're actually talking about Jacoby Brissett being some. Now this weekend, you do have to take a little bit of a step back, right? That's what I'm going to
Oh
ask
yeah,
Matthew when he comes on, because
yeah.
and my thought process here, Adam, is that okay? I've got, because one team I have Dak and Jacoby Brissett because I picked him up off waivers. That's probably how most people. No one was going into the season drafting Jacoby Brissett, so he was always going to be some kind of waiver wire hero. He might be the waiver wire hero, by the way, of the season. But now you look at him, you might have better options of the guys that you started the year out with, but you really, really have to downgrade him this weekend going up against the Texans, because they've been shutting everyone down. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, like this is probably the week where we're going to see it end. And there's no way you can rank them as a QB1. I don't see how it's possible. Again, the Texans have just stopped everybody. I mean, the fewest fantasy points, 193.4 passing yards per game they've allowed. And again, Mahomes, no touchdowns. Josh Allen, no touchdowns. They haven't allowed any quarterback to throw for more than 2 touchdowns this year. And they faced some good ones. They faced Stafford.
Yeah.
They played Baker Mayfield when he was playing well early in the year. They've done Trevor Lawrence twice. I know he's been better lately. They did get Cam Ward twice. No wonder why those numbers are so low. But yeah, we've watched them. We've seen them. They don't allow anything to quarterbacks. So yeah, this is the week that it's going to end for Jacoby Brissett in his nice run. Unless, I mean, look, they are going to be trailing. I mean, can he get some first downs and get up 40 pass attempts? It's risky though to count on that. They're on the road, and we know the Texans are fighting for the division, a playoff spot. So yeah, it's a tough spot. Just when you were like putting all your Cardinals in the lineup every single week, now you're like, oh boy, the Texans. So
Yeah.
you're playing Trey McBride, obviously, and then Michael Wilson is the challenge.
I know. That's going to be the difficult one.
I think because, and I've brought this up, the receiver position is so bad. It's like, okay, who are you starting over him?
Let me go to my rankings.
Well, you probably definitely have him lower than
for
usual.
sure. Yeah, you have to downgrade him. But you're right. I mean, with the upside. Now, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is back, you're not starting him.
That'll make it easier to make that decision. I think it's still tough to bench Michael Wilson. Again, when you look at all these receivers, because they all have question marks.
If Marvin Harrison is out there, I don't think it's tough to bench Michael Wilson, because they, at least in that previous game.
So what if Harrison's out? I mean, what if he's out?
Yeah, so I've got Michael Wilson right now, wide receiver 14.
That's what I'm saying. You see, it's like
started.
We're all like, we can't play him. It's the Texans, and then you start doing rankings, and you're like, well,
we always talk about it. We say, well, I can't. Like, I didn't put Devontae Smith ahead of him. I didn't put Wan'Dale Robinson, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin, Lad McConkey, all those guys are behind him easily. And then you just get to the point where he's, I don't know. And this is the thing, Adam, because you could have picked him up off the waiver wire. This could have been another waiver wire guy. So it just really depends on the wide receivers you have. I've got A.J. Brown ahead of him. I've got Jalen Waddle ahead of him going up against Pittsburgh. Pickens, of course, Nico Collins. I've got Jameson Williams ahead of him as well, Chris Olave. And then I stop with Teteroa McMillan going up against the Saints.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for sure. Imagine having Wilson and Watson this week, and you've been rolling with them because Watson gets Denver. It probably sees some Patrick Surtain. So, yeah, this is where these tough matchups come into play.
Yeah, Michael Wilson, by the way, also not the easiest schedule coming up. So, yeah, you just think that if you do not have Marvin Harrison Jr., then you have to make that decision. If he is in there, though, I will say if Marvin Harrison Jr. is in there, I do drop him down a lot. And I wish I didn't have to, but they haven't shown that they're going to treat him as the wide receiver one, even though we've seen him be a little bit better. And he's gotten a lot more time this season, of course, playing time, but I just can't do it because the last game we saw with Marvin in there, he got 6.6 fantasy points. He had the targets though, 7 targets, but he had 3 receptions against Tampa Bay, 36 yards. And 6 fantasy points.
It's so funny. We speak so highly of Arizona in fantasy. They've lost 10 out of 11 games.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before where if you asked me how many games they've won this season, I might say 5.
Do you know who their win is in that span? The 10 of 11 who they beat in that game?
10 of 11.
They've lost 10 of 11.
Been a long time ago.
Well, they've lost 5 in a row. They beat Dallas 27-17. What a brutal loss. How did they lose to this team?
Embarrassing.
It is very embarrassing. It's going to cost them a playoff spot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you guys would have been in a way better spot. Sorry. I can't believe we're talking like this about the Cardinals without Kyler Murray, to be totally honest with you. Jacoby Brissett, yeah, that's going to be interesting next year, don't you think? Because Marvin Harrison Jr. or Kyler Murray is not coming back. He's going to be on the move. Has Jacoby Brissett played well enough to play himself into a contract?
I mean, they haven't been winning.
Well, that's true. I think about it for fantasy football. I'm like, well, for fantasy purposes,
we love it for fantasy.
Yeah, we're like, put
the ball in the air 45, 50 times. Just find the receivers. Funny. Yeah, let's go.
The two together. You're like, well, they haven't been winning. I said, well, they've been winning for us in fantasy. So you kind of forget that. The piece of news that I should have started this with is that it's official, Adam. We get Phillip Rivers back in the NFL, at least on the practice squad. So they officially signed, the Colts officially signed Phillip Rivers to the practice squad with the Colts. This is not April Fool's. This is real. And so it's still up in the air if he's going to actually play. They also have, Riley Leonard's dealing with the knee injury. You also have Brett Rippon on the practice squad as well. So they've got some outs here, but I guess based on what they saw in the initial workout that they said he's in the best shape of his life. And I'm not lying. Those words were out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he hasn't played in the NFL for 5 years. He couldn't move in the pocket 5 years ago. Yeah, it's going to be better now. I mean, yeah, nothing to worry about here. They've already had 2 quarterbacks get injured. I'm sure a 44-year-old who hasn't taken a hit in a long time will be fine. That'll work out.
Did we see what happened with Brosmer a couple weeks against the Seahawks? Come on. This can't be the direction that they go. Maybe he surprises. I'm trying to be optimistic. Maybe he surprises us and is just out there wheeling and dealing, but I cannot imagine that that's what happens against the Seahawks.
I'll be rooting for him.
Yeah.
But I also am not optimistic that this is going to go very well.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he doesn't even start for them. I do not know.
Possible.
So again, it's a practice squad. They get there. I think he's working out today, officially in the first workout with the team. So we'll see what happens here. No matter what though, no matter if it's Brett Rippon, Phillip Rivers, Riley Leonard, we downgrade everyone. I know we talked with this about this with Dwayne McFarland yesterday, but probably the only player that I'm not downgrading as much might be Tyler Warren, just because I figure that he's going to be the security blanket, the guy that gets the most targets there. Michael, when we look at Alec Pierce, you have to downgrade him. Everyone else, I think, is a downgrade. Jonathan Taylor, I think, can get his, but teams are now going to be focused on stopping him because they know that's the only way they can probably win these games.
Yeah, I'm worried about everyone here for sure. Even Taylor, yeah, he's going to get volume, but we've already seen Taylor with Daniel Jones at quarterback tail off, right? I mean, he's had some some down games recently. So really, we've seen him have big games this year with touchdowns. Those are probably gone. And then last week too, no targets after being heavily involved in the passing game. So he had 21 carries last week, only 74 yards, did score, but again, it's a different context to this offense right now. So yeah, I'd be worried about all of them. And again, that's why you just have to keep playing, because weeks ago, if you saw a team with Jonathan Taylor and you were facing them, you were like, oh no, he's going to put up 30. Now you're like, okay, I'm not fearful anymore.
This is probably one of those players that, again, I said it at the beginning of the show, helped you get to the playoffs and now could be your demise. I hope not. We hope for all great fantasy points all weekend long, but Jonathan Taylor is great in these situations, in these scenarios, but his ability, when you look at defenses and how he punishes them when they were committed to giving extra defenders to stop Daniel Jones earlier in the season, that was something that helped him a lot. And so, yeah, we'll just have to see what it looks like. Downgrading everyone. I hate this because I have so much Alec Pierce now, Adam. I picked up Alec Pierce everywhere, and now it's not even fun. You can't even flex him, really. You should look elsewhere. That stinks. Michael Pittman Jr. too. Oh wow.
Yeah, it does, because you were, especially with Pierce, like you felt like, oh yeah, I found something here. Look the way he has come on strong and put up good numbers, and now you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to start this guy.
I don't know how you can. I don't know how you look at him and do it, but he's given you a good season so far. We'll see how it ends up here. We're going to continue talking through these matchups and just our expectations for the fantasy playoffs. I want to talk about players that could feast in the playoffs, though, Adam. No more of this, sad. We're sad that, maybe we get Phillip Rivers. We're sad about everything else. Let's talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, Harold Fannin Jr., and more here coming up next. We do have all the tools to help you not only get to the playoffs, which I know and hope that everyone listening right here is in a fantasy playoff spot for fantasy football here heading into week 15. Maybe you have a bye this week and you just are just listening for fun. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. No matter what, though, you do want to go to fantasylife.com. Go check out that newsletter. It is in your inbox 7 days a week, 100% free. And then you can check out all of our amazing tools. Our articles are 100% free as well. So head over there, fantasylife.com. Who could feast in the fantasy playoffs, Adam? Hopefully everyone on my team, and then yours as well, unless we meet up. Then I hope that they don't feast in the GST. But we'll
the only way we can face each other is in the finals.
Yeah. What are you not looking towards the finals?
No, I'm not.
Come on.
You've seen my team. Well, it's gotten really lucky.
Yeah, but you could continue getting
3 more weeks of luck. Let's go.
I mean, come on. Stranger things have happened, right? You never know.
That is true. That's the goal. I was just happy to get in. I needed to win this past week to get in. Got it. Now I need to get lucky for 3 weeks.
There we go.
I mean, look, I have some elite players. I need CeeDee Lamb to play. If CeeDee Lamb doesn't play, I'm in huge trouble. Because again, our waiver wire is closed.
Mm-hmm. I have no lean which way or the other, really. I want to, me, I'll be positive here and say I hope that he's playing because it was a Thursday. But that if you went back and rewatched that hit that he took to his head, that was brutal. So I truly don't know if he's going to play. You've got big players, T. Higgins as well in the concussion protocol again. He started later, he started that on Monday. So that's a huge question mark. It doesn't seem like Drake London could be gone for the rest of the season. He wasn't practicing yesterday. But
he's day to day. Don't worry, he's fine.
What are we doing? How can they say that? They've said he's day to day for 4 weeks.
I know. It's insane.
You can't rely on him. Hopefully by this point, though, because he's been out for
this will be his 4th game missed.
3 weeks? Oh my gosh, that's brutal. So I'm assuming people have other options there, but you never know. Anyway, we'll keep watching out for those. You just hope that, guys can feast in the fantasy playoffs. Someone that we've talked about before, you never need us to tell you to start Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think looking at the utilization report and what was, written about him, what we've seen over the past 3-4 weeks has been phenomenal for Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, because we started off the season talking about CMC. He was the RB1, 24 points per game in the first month. Then it was Jonathan Taylor, 31.7 points per game. Now we're looking, and Achane. I can't leave out Achane. And he was giving us 27.1 points per game. Jahmyr Gibbs is now that guy, especially in December. And I think it's interesting, Adam, because you talked about this in the offseason, because I said, hey, I'm still going to be drafting David Montgomery, for the first half of the year, you were like, okay, he's giving you good enough numbers. But since Dan Campbell took over the play calls in week 10, Gibbs has averaged 32.4 points with a 93 utilization score. I mean, he's fully taken over.
Yeah, I just did not think Montgomery was going to play a similar role, and he hasn't most of the year. I mean, to start the year, he was getting around 11 carries a game, but it was all matchup dependent. Against the bad defenses, he would go off. Against the good defenses, you wouldn't want to play him. So I did draft him in one league, and I remember telling you at the time, I was like, I did not want to draft him. It's just there was a point where I needed a second running back badly, and I had him ranked the highest, but I knew when I drafted him, yeah, this is not going to work out. And it really hasn't. I mean, he has 7 touchdowns in Montgomery on the season, but he's got one 100-yard game. That came back in week 3. So you got to the point where you figured they realized Gibbs was their best option. And it's not that Montgomery isn't good. Maybe on a different team, he would be really good. But they needed to get the ball in the hands of Gibbs. And with Campbell taking over the play calling recently, and also their desperation, right? They need to win these games to get into playoffs. So you're going to try and get the ball in the hands of Gibbs as many times as possible, because as we saw in that overtime game against the Giants, you could take it to the end zone at any point or break a long run to put you in a better spot. So, yeah, it hurts Montgomery, who has scored a touchdown in 2 straight games, but you really can't bank on that.
No, you can't. And it's, again, you don't need us to tell you to start Jahmyr Gibbs everywhere you can. But when you look at him and his, he ranks second behind Achane in yards per carry, third in percentage of carries to go for 10 plus yards. The Lions offense as a whole ranks second in touchdowns per drive, right behind the Rams. It's just been good. And he's got an uptake too in the passing game. I don't know how much of that is Dan Campbell or the fact that, Sam Laporta went on IR. And I think that helps a little bit there, Adam. So if we were to ever see him come back, I don't know if that would, fall off just a little bit, but no matter what, he's an elite RB1. He helped you get here. It feels like he's going to be on a lot. If a lot of these teams go on to win the fantasy championship and we look at, roster percentages, I think he's going to be on most of those teams.
I have him on one of my teams that made the playoffs. So,
nice.
And yeah, when you have someone like that on your fantasy team, it's like the best feeling, right? You see them go off, put up 3 touchdowns, and yeah, it's nice to have that on your team.
It's beautiful. I've got my best team this year out of all the teams that I've drafted is Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith, and Jigba team, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, look, that could be enough as long as the rest of the team isn't brutal. Like, those guys can carry you many weeks, and that also takes those 2 guys off opponents' teams, and then that leaves few players that can go off on a given week, right? And there's just like a handful of players this year that are just dominant week in, week out. And clearly those are, 2 of the top ones.
Yeah, it's definitely helped the Emeka Egbuka shares. Let's just say that he's also on that team, and I've been winning because I have those 2 more so than because I have Emeka Egbuka. Another one here is Harold Fannin Jr. and I see a question from Hugh, so we'll get to that question as well because he's got a start sit question. Harold Fannin Jr. though, we talked about this again yesterday with Dwayne McFarland. Feels like we've talked about him all season as someone that you can pick up off the waiver wire, but especially this week. I hope whenever anyone went to read our articles that you saw Harold Fannin Jr. over the last couple of weeks. 3 games with Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders has been named the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. So there's no question if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel at some point, but Fannin has an 87% route participation rate and a 28% target share. That is phenomenal. And what he's been giving you, listen, Sanders isn't going to give us 364, 3 touchdowns every single week. That's not going to happen. It does help a lot when we look at that game, but I have Fannin actually as a mid-range tight end 1. And I think the rest of the way, it's going to be really hard for me, Adam, to look at Harold Fannin Jr. and put him anywhere outside the top 6 tight ends the rest of the way, top 7.
Yeah, he's the one guy that Sanders is looking for, and the target share has been there. The production has been there. It's 2 straight games with a touchdown, obviously coming off a massive week with 114 yards. Now, it was against Tennessee. It'll be tougher this week against the Bears and on the road in temperatures of around 9 degrees. But
9?
Yeah, there's some very cold weather this weekend. Looks like 9 degrees in Chicago or 15.
No
I'm not seeing any snow yet. Okay. 15 in Cincinnati, 20 in Kansas City.
Ugh.
Yep.
No. I used to live there, Cincinnati, so you can't give me too much grief about the cold. But
Monday
I did
night in
not
Pittsburgh,
survive.
19 degrees.
Pass. How cold is it with you right now?
It
Pretty
might be like
cold.
around 32. It's been really cold the
Oh,
last 2 days, so
yeah.
so
It'll
my
fit.
house feels like a freezer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no one go to Adam's house because you need to bring a blanket and maybe a portable
A
heater.
portable heater, yeah.
Welcome to my home. Where's your? Did you bring your heater? That's insane. Okay, the question from Hugh, since we're on Harold Fannin, is asking about start sit between Harold Fannin and Tyler Warren, who we just talked about with the Colts. I don't know if I want any part of the Colts receivers, though. I'm going to be pass catchers. I don't know if I want it. I will say I still have Tyler Warren ranked as the tight end 8. Just overall, we don't know the quarterback situation, but I've got Harold Fannin Jr. this week as my tight end 5. So I think I would go Fannin ahead of Warren, especially against the Seahawks. I don't love it.
Well, I will say this: the Seahawks allow the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end position. That's kind of an area where you can get
Yeah,
them a little bit.
I'm talking about them with like just getting to maybe good old Phillip Rivers and not allowing him to have much time.
That would be amazing if Phil Rivers carves up the Seahawks defense.
I would be sick. You won't hear from me. I actually will take the day off on Monday if that happens. That can't happen.
Well, he could carve them up and
Stop.
Seattle still wins.
I still would kind of hate that. Now, if we got fantasy points, I wouldn't hate it as much. But
Yeah.
so if he carves them up, but the Seahawks win,
Yeah, you'll be good with that.
it's still kind of embarrassing, though. No.
As long as you get the W, it doesn't matter. Although
Right.
there are
No.
people, I do have the Seahawks defense in the league, and they've been pretty fun to have.
Yeah, no kidding. They've been. I know. You know what? I'm taking it back. I wouldn't like that. I don't think I want that. Even if it means.
Well,
fantasy
this
points.
is a key look ahead spot for Seattle. They got the Rams on Thursday, the 18th. So maybe they're looking ahead to the Rams. They're like, it's the Colts. It's Phil
Please
Rivers.
stop.
He can't
What
move.
are
We'll
we
sack
doing?
him.
Why would you? Don't put that out there in the universe.
Let's see. What's that money line for the Colts?
Get out of here. You're not. Do it. Do it right now on the air. Take the Colts money line. No, stop. Get out of here. But Harold Fannin over. Oh, so are you saying you?
Yeah, I'm
like
taking
Tyler
Fannin
Warren?
over
Okay.
Warren.
All right. Yeah, I don't love it. Even though Adam's trying to tempt everyone listening that the Seahawks.
No, I'm trying to rattle you because it's easy.
With the Seahawks, yeah. I mean, after the sports year that I've had with the Mariners, yeah, I'm a little bit cautious with some of my teams here.
Plus 625 for the Colts on DraftKings.
Go ahead and take it. Go ahead. Put 10 on it.
Okay. 10,000 or $10?
Oh wow, you have it like that? Listen. If you want to put 10,000 on it, you go right ahead. The last one here that I will say, RJ Harvey, who we've also talked about a lot here. But looking ahead at their schedule, it's a little bit tough, right? It's a tougher schedule. The Denver Broncos, I think they need a win this week. Are they in a spot where they just need a win
to clinch the division, right?
Yes.
I believe so.
I believe that's correct. I know. It also same thing for the Patriots, but I think that's for more of a playoff scenario. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. I don't think they could.
Hang on.
They can clinch a playoff spot.
Playoff spot, not the 1 seed though. Both of them could. So regardless, RJ Harvey though, when we look at him, he is taking on a tougher schedule against the Packers, which all these teams have a negative fantasy boost. So against the Packers, the Jaguars, and the Chiefs, not easy. But I think when we look at these, Adam, more competitive games, right? That Denver's going to be in. They want to make sure they get that top seed. We look at his comps. I have him as a high end RB2. I know that Dwayne has him ranked as a low end RB1, but I'm looking at this and just the what he's done over the past couple of weeks. Week 14 saw season high in snaps, route percentage rate, and he tied season high in targets. So you're just hoping that continues on even with these tough games, that he gets it done on the ground.
Yeah, he's going to get the touches. We know that. So we were a little concerned at first, like, okay, are they going to involve Jaleel McLaughlin? What are they going to do? Tyler Perday, come on, don't do this to us. And then I think McLaughlin, the first game, got a goal line carry and scored. And we're like, oh, no. But then since then, it has shifted in the direction of Harvey. And what I like is that the passing game involvement, I want to see it more. And we saw this week, 6 targets. Now it only went for 6 for 25, but 8.5 points right there in a PPR without a carry. That's what you want to see. Just kind of raises that floor. So maybe in these tougher matchups, that's what we see him more involved in the pass game. Although, he hasn't been as explosive as I thought we might see. Like
No.
we haven't seen these long runs. I thought we would see it more.
That's what a lot of people said that he would bring.
Yeah.
Which I and not to say that he can't do that, but you're right. We haven't seen the explosiveness that I think we've seen from other rookie
Yeah, we saw a
quarterbacks.
50-yard run in week 1. We saw a 40-yard run against Dallas. And then since then, his longest run is 15 yards.
Mhm.
And like his longest reception was against the Texans, 27 yards. So, yeah, that's the one thing that's surprising. I just haven't seen him break off these big plays.
I will say though, RB9 in the last 3 games with Harvey as the lead back. So it took a second. They gave us a scare, like you said, because why is Jaleel McLaughlin here? Who invited him to the party? But now you've got an RB9 over those 3 games with Harvey as the lead back, 17.1 points per game, 79 utilization scores. So you just hope that again he gives you high end RB2, RB1 upside. You don't need us to tell you that you're probably starting Harvey, but you feel, I will say, Adam, you feel a lot better about it now than what you might have felt 3-4 weeks ago when we first saw this shift with J.K. Dobbins going down with his injury. So just another guy that hopefully he can feast in the playoffs. If not, you at least like, what we saw last week with the carries, with the receptions, all and the targets, all that combined into a nice little fantasy football present. We're going to continue on. I want to talk about more players that could have really good fantasy football playoff schedules, could feast in the playoffs. I want to talk about some that you just need to downgrade no matter what. We're going to continue giving you those names here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. That's where you can find us if you have questions that you need answers to, or you just want to tell us about your teams. We'll talk about anything here. So make sure you send us in those questions. I know we've talked through a couple tight end ones. You know what I was looking at, Adam, for favorable schedules during the playoffs and the quarterbacks? I was looking through the quarterbacks. I was looking through the wide receivers. You know how annoying it is that the Minnesota Vikings for a quarterback schedule, it's probably close to the top, at the Cowboys, at the Giants, going up against the Lions. Well,
So what you're telling
no,
me?
no. Don't do this. Okay, go ahead.
No, you don't even know where I'm going.
No, I thought you were gonna say you're saying to start JJ McCarthy everywhere.
I didn't say that. You kind of
Okay.
inferred that, so I'll leave that.
I did.
Does this mean that Justin Jefferson is going to perform well?
I knew you were gonna ask that. I've still dropped. How can we see that schedule and still say that Jefferson's going to be good? I don't know. I can't. And you know me, I'm the optimistic one.
So where do you have Jefferson ranked this week?
You're going to hate it.
Yeah.
I might move it. You're going to absolutely hate it. I've got him wide receiver 22.
Why would I hate that?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say 29.
No. I've got
let's
him at 22.
see.
And again, that's early ranking, so I could change it. Ian has him at 29. Ian Hartitz does. And I don't know.
I think if you have him, you're playing him at this point.
I've got Jacoby Myers ahead of him.
Okay,
DK Metcalf, if he's good to go.
I think they said he was going to be fine.
That stomach thing was a little bit odd. Lad McConkey. No, I don't. Just kidding.
Nah, I don't think
I
you
don't
can
have
do that.
Lad ahead of him. I've got Terry McLaurin ahead of him going up against the Giants.
Yeah, it is the Giants, and Mariota has been good. Look, I think if you have Jefferson, you're playing him. I don't know how many people with Jefferson are in the playoffs in the first round. It's certainly possible. Again, you could have gotten a lot of good picks after. Everyone talks about that. Oh, my first round pick was bad, or you got hurt. Doesn't matter. Like Malik Neighbors was my first round pick in my home league. I had the most points in the league.
Yeah.
So, it hurts when you lose your first round pick, but don't use that as an excuse for why your team went down. And yes, it's been a miserable season for Jefferson with just 2 touchdowns. But if you did get in the playoffs, he can make up for it here with this stretch here.
I get worried because in the best game we've seen so far for JJ McCarthy's, albeit small, short, career in games played, games started, even in his best game, we got a wide receiver 72 finish from Justin Jefferson. That's where I get nervous, where it's not, again, we know the talent of Justin Jefferson. We know what he can put up. We know the ceiling that he can carry. But at the end of the day, if you're getting the best performance from McCarthy, your quarterback, and he's not involved and he finishes the wide receiver 72, I don't know how I can look at him other than, yeah, maybe a flex play. I agree with you that you might not have better options and you just want to roll the dice with Jefferson, but that's the thing that freaks me out the most is we saw the best game from McCarthy and he was not even involved.
That is true. But he also McCarthy only completed like what was it 13 passes, 16? It wasn't a lot.
Let me look. Let me look.
Look, I'd say I'd give him one more shot. If he can't do it against Dallas, because he did have a good matchup against Washington, but they were in control of that game.
16 and
Yeah.
23.
So yes, should he have completed at least 4 or 5 to Jefferson? Yes, that's the disappointing part. But Dallas can't cover anyone. So,
It's true.
like, you got to play him this week. I mean, Dallas just gave up over 90 yards to Jameson Williams and St. Brown.
It's Dallas.
Yeah, so they can't cover anyone. So I would start him this week. And you know what? The way this season has gone, it's crazy. You could see Jefferson. Imagine Jefferson's like a league winner. Like you just forget his whole regular season. And you're like, wow, Jefferson in weeks 15 to 17 had 4 touchdowns and 324 yards.
You know who we should ask? Let's ask Matthew Berry. Let's ask Matthew Berry if he's starting Justin Jefferson in the fantasy playoffs. We're going to talk with him here coming up next. It is about that time. We are talking to the one and only Matthew Berry joining us here right now to break down his thoughts, give us his opinions, his rankings for week 15 across fantasy football and the fantasy football playoffs. Matthew, welcome in. How you doing?
Hey, Kendall, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing well. We're ready to kind of figure out where you're at with some of these rankings going into week 15. I want to start. We were just talking about Justin Jefferson. Where do you have him ranked this weekend, Matthew? Like, is he someone where you just say, okay, they have a nice schedule against the Cowboys, against the Giants, and then finishing off with the Lions for the next 3 weeks for us. Is Justin Jefferson startable to you this weekend?
He is. He's gonna, just a heads up, he's gonna be on the love list this week.
Okay.
I think it's a combination of, I know. It's crazy that this is a conversation, right? But just for me, the combination of J.J. McCarthy looked better last week. He's still Justin Jefferson. We know the talent has gotten away. You like the matchup with Dallas, obviously, in a big way. This is one of those, Kendall, fantasy football, we can talk all the stats we want. We can talk all the film work we want. But at the end of the day, this is a hobby we play, and it's an emotional game. Right? I know there's cold-blooded people like, you can't take emotion out of it, but blah, blah, blah. 95% of the people out there, if Justin Jefferson's on your bench and he goes off against Dallas, then if you start him and he doesn't do anything, because you're like, well, what am I, whatever. I started Justin Jefferson against Dallas. What was I going to do? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's a human element thing, but I think you start him. I think he's on the love list. I think he's due. Addison was, semi-productive last week with McCarthy. Yes. I'm in on Jefferson this week. Good Lord. I can't believe this is a conversation. But it is. Yeah.
What about Arizona this week? We know Jacoby Brissett has been rolling. Every game he has started except one, multiple touchdowns. The volume is there. Going up against the Texans defense, we realize how great they've been against the quarterback position. Is Brissett someone you're just looking to stay away from? And Michael Wilson as well. I mean, he's just been rolling with Marvin Harrison out. So what are you doing with the Cardinals this week?
Yeah, I don't know how you bench Michael Wilson, assuming Harrison is out again, right? But yes, I'm nervous about Jacoby Brissett. I think you'd start Wilson and McBride, and that's about it against the Texans. I think if I'd been riding Jacoby Brissett, I don't know, man. It just made Patrick Mahomes look really human. The day probably looks a little bit different if Tyquan Thornton comes down with that ball, which was thrown perfectly, and he just dropped it in the end zone. But I don't know. I get it. But part of what Jacoby Brissett has produced has been, someone in junk time or kind of these shootout type games. And I just don't see that happening with the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud is an interesting streamer this week going up against Arizona in that same game. But it's not like I think the Texans blow them out where all of a sudden Jacoby Brissett, is down, multiple scores like he was against the Rams and he's just chucking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Brissett is somebody I would probably lean in a different direction if I had a viable option.
Again, we're talking with the one and only Matthew Berry here. You can check out all of his articles, NBCsports.com. Matthew, when we look at the Rams running backs between Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, and the emergence that we've seen with Corum, do you think both are startable in the first week of the fantasy playoffs?
I do. I think, we talked about this on my show yesterday on Fantasy Football Happy Hour, which will be live at noon today on YouTube and, of course, available on Peacock and NBCSports.com and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a company man. But what I would say is about Blake Corum is, like, he's the new Tyler Algier. Like, he's a guy that's going to get about 10 touches a game, and he's going to get, at least likely one red zone look, one potential goal-to-go rushing attempt. They seem to really like him. He's very similar style-wise to Kyren Williams. They trust him in close, obviously. And so I do think he is flex-worthy, in 12-team or deeper leagues. He's obviously a must-have if you have Kyren Williams on your team. But, I do think he's viable as a flex. Yes, Kyren Williams, maybe not the RB1 you drafted, more of an RB2, but obviously I think you're still starting Kyren Williams.
We saw Omarion Hampton make his return this past week. 31% of the snaps, Kimani Vidal 69%, but the touches were pretty even. What's your takeaway from what you saw, and what's your outlook going forward? How much do you think this changes? Do we see more Hampton playing more snaps going forward?
I think we have to. I mean, look, Kimani Vidal has had a nice, been, nice, but he's just not anywhere near the same caliber player as Omarion Hampton. Remember, they knew what they had in Kimani Vidal, and they went on and spent a first-round pick on Omarion Hampton. There were a couple of different blocks that Hampton missed in that game against the Eagles, and so they didn't really use him much after that. And so I wonder if just, he's somebody that was a good pass blocker out of college, and so I think maybe just rusty or whatever, and they just wanted to be safer. But I think the touches are an indication that they'll ramp that up. I was happy that he scored the touchdown. Vidal's game looked a lot better to get that one catch for 34 yards or whatever it was. But Hampton's just so much a better player. I think Hampton's an RB2 moving forward. Hopefully he gets to RB1. He is my ride or die after all. But this week I think he's an RB2, and I think Vidal is a very shaky PPR flex. But ideally you're not starting Vidal.
All right, Matthew. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us here. You were freezing in Arrowhead this past week. Where can people find you this week? You going to be in a warmer place? Where are we going?
I'm staying in Stamford, Connecticut.
There we go.
NBC. We have we're in studio this week, so I'll be in a warm studio in Connecticut for Football Night in America. So yes, very happy about that. Kansas City was fun, but it was freezing, unbelievably cold.
I bet. Well, Matthew, we appreciate it so much, and we'll.
Those pocket warmers, those
yes,
hot pocket things. I had like 3 of them in each one of my shoes.
Matthew, let me ask you this: Would you ever wear a fanny pack? Are you a fanny pack guy?
I'm not a fanny pack guy.
Okay. All right. Dang it.
Yes. Thank you, Matthew.
I was trying to talk Adam into a fanny pack with hand warmers. I think you guys need to get on that. You would be a lot warmer if you did it. But Matthew, we appreciate you.
All right, guys. Take care. Everyone go sign up for my free newsletter at fantasylife.com. All
right. Will do, Matthew. Again, fantasylife.com. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll see him again next week. And, yeah, Adam, I think Blake Corum's the interesting one for me this week. I don't know, I guess it just depends, right? If we're looking at flex options and we've seen what Blake Corum has done the past couple of weeks, you say to yourself, this does, just like Matthew said, feel like a Tyler Algier situation. Detroit Lions, not the easiest matchup when you face them. They're the second toughest against running backs for the season. I know that Saquon Barkley hasn't been amazing, but let me just give you these names. They've held Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams to a combined 34.8 fantasy points over the past 4 weeks. So big questions there, but Blake Corum might be someone that has emerged so much that you do think about flexing him.
Maybe for people that are struggling at running back, because like you mentioned, Detroit's allowed the fewest fantasy points to the running back position. So this feels like a game like when they get inside the 5, it's Devontae Adams time once again.
Ooh, that would be fun. I would love that.
I would not. I prefer it to be Puka.
Okay. Well, I do have
Puka.
We have so many. Come on, like every time I look around, I'm like, okay, I love this. I don't love this for Devontae, but then I find a Puka team and I say, oh, well, never mind. I did like this, but yeah, I think the split the rest of the way with him and Kyren Williams is going to at least be interesting. If you have a team with not great running backs, you would flex Corum in this situation. No, remind me who those are.
Oh, they're really well. Bucky Irving,
Okay,
Bam
wasn't bad.
Knight,
Oh.
and yeah, Bam Knight's my RB2 in that league.
Oh, so you would definitely be flexing Blake Corum.
I mean, look, Knight has
Putting
been
him in.
solid, but this week it's a very tough
Yes.
matchup because he's been scoring touchdowns, and you really can't count on that against the Texans. And if they do fall behind by double digits, then you'll see more Michael Carter in passing down situations. So that's the issue.
And we have no clarity on Trey Benson. Doesn't feel like he's coming back.
I
If he's not
wouldn't count on
activated,
it.
if he's not activated
I thought it was
today,
today.
yeah, if he's not activated today, he's done for the year. So just be careful, Trey Benson managers. We're heading to the water cooler though. News and notes, your questions. We're going there next. It is about that time. Time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler right here, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Wednesday morning, afternoon, 8, 9, 10, 11 morning. Going through
Even
all
for
the
me,
news.
it's still morning.
I know, I was like 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. You have breakfast? Coffee? Ooh.
Some coffee, no breakfast.
Folgers? No.
No, you never sent it to me.
All right. Well, it's because I wanted to send it to you in the fanny pack, and you just.
So you could send send Folgers in a fanny pack, and then I'll just discard the fanny pack.
No. You have to like on your walk while you're drinking the Folgers, wear the fanny pack. That's the deal.
Nah, not gonna happen.
Fine. You don't. We got a message just now from Fanny Pack Mafia saying you don't know what you're missing out on. I would agree with that.
Well, considering the handle, I'm not surprised.
Well, whatever. Leave that. It's just so convenient. You put all your stuff in it. It's like a nice purse. Your wallet, your phone, your headphones. Come on.
Your wallet, phone, and keys. That's it. That's all I need.
Hand warmers.
No, my hands are always cold. I just deal with it.
Oh, jeez. It's because you're where you live. It's like 0 degrees in there.
Yeah, exactly. So you get used to it. You deal with it.
Just everyone know.
It was like, I don't know, 15 degrees yesterday. I took my walk.
Oh, I thought you meant in your place. I was like,
it's probably more like 30 in here, but
oh my, stop. What are you doing? Gosh, it's just not even, I can't even, no, we're skipping over this. Anyways, but where was I? I don't even know where I was. We're going through the water cooler. You messed me up. You messed up the flow.
It's very easy to do that.
No kidding. I just get distracted. It's like shiny. Okay. Fantasylife.com. That's where you want to go subscribe to the newsletter. I do know that. And you can check out all of our rankings. We've been mentioning some of the early rankings for week 15. Those are live that you can check out fantasylife.com as well. Going through not a ton of news here that I will say. Of course, the big one is that Phillip Rivers you're going to hear this all day for the rest of the week, signed to the practice squad. We'll see if he really does get brought up to the active roster, because if he does, that means he's probably going to play on Sunday going against my Seattle Seahawks. Other than that, we're really in a wait and see mode. We're in a wait and see mood for CeeDee Lamb with his concussion, T. Higgins as well. I have no update, and I've looked around. I've seen no update from Aaron Glenn on Garrett Wilson possibly returning from IR. I know I've seen a couple questions throughout the week about him this week, and again, I have nothing there yet. Maybe we get something today. Drake London remained out of practice yesterday, so he's probably on the side of not playing. This is a game that they're going up against tomorrow. So those are really the biggest updates I saw, and it's not even that much yet. We have to wait for today's practice reports, really.
Yeah, we are. Look, T. Higgins, more than likely, I would be prepared to be without him. My guess is he's out. Second concussion in 3 weeks.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb is tricky because they have the extra days for him to get ready since that game was Thursday night. So I think you want to hear some good news on him today. Otherwise, then it's time to get concerned. Game is Sunday night. Big game for them. And obviously, fantasy players need CeeDee Lamb because
he sure do. Yeah.
That game, I mean, what he could have finished with if he played the whole game. I mean, he might have had 200 yards in that game. That's how good he was and was rolling. So that was a big loss. And at least he gave you those fantasy points before exiting. But yeah, there's a lot of things to watch. I mean, you mentioned the Jets. Like, who's their quarterback this week too? Because that really is a factor in terms of if you're looking at anyone else, because we saw that offense just absolutely collapse with Brady Cook in there at quarterback.
Yeah. And because Fields was inactive too.
Yes, with a knee injury.
Knee
injury. Is he
so,
really hurt?
So yeah, well, we could put on our tinfoil hats, but he wasn't even an option because he was inactive in that game. We'll see if he gets better throughout the week. Going to the Falcons, to your point, to the Falcons too. We've talked the last couple weeks, ever since that injury with Penix, we've said, who are we really starting here? If Drake London's out, it hasn't been a team that we've said, oh, well, we have to go get Darnell Mooney and start him everywhere. Is it not a question of course, Bijan Robinson is out there. Tyler Algier has kind of come back down from the surge that we saw middle of the season, but maybe Kyle Pitts, Adam, is the guy that you've been looking around and saying, okay, without Drake London, he actually has been a top, I want to say 8 tight end without Drake London in there. So again, it's not pretty, it's not sexy, but he's to me a mid-range tight end 1. That's where I have him in my rankings. And we just, again, don't know if London's going to return from that PCL injury. But when you look at his target share, it's sitting at 28%. And that's tied with Harold Fannin Jr. And he ranks 7th in the utilization score and in fantasy points per game in that span as well.
Yeah, I think you're starting him. I mean, we have a lot of concerns at the tight end position right now with some players that we were counting on that we can't now, like Tyler Warren due to the quarterback situation, or Rondé Gadsden, who looked like we had a league winner like 5-6 weeks ago. We said, yes, we got Gadsden. This is great. Now we don't even want to start him. So Pitts obviously is in a great situation right now. Cousins is connecting with him. He's getting the targets with London out, and I would expect London to sit once again tomorrow night. So, yeah, Kyle Pitts now back-to-back games of 15 points in PPR formats, 18 targets over the last 2 games. So, it's taken a lot of injuries and the backup quarterback, but Kyle Pitts is finally coming along here. He only has 1 touchdown on the season, but look, in a PPR, a tight end right now, you will absolutely take what he has given you the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's my tight end 7 this week. I'm going back and forth between him and Jake Ferguson at 7, though. Jake Ferguson against Minnesota. He's also been pretty solid. Both of those guys, though, ahead of Tyler Warren.
Ferguson would get a boost if Lamb is out.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to, you'd feel a lot better about him because we saw him earlier in the season with Lamb out. He put up some big games. I mean, he had a stretch of 6 touchdowns in 4 games. I believe Lamb was out for all those games.
Yep. You know who has a good week this week? Because we look at who's playing the Bengals. Which tight end has a good week?
Oh, yeah.
Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely? Is he someone that if you're streaming, I think so.
Oh, absolutely. You can make a case 12. Likely is better option than Andrews.
He's 12 for me right now. With Mark, I will say Mark Andrews, I have at 11. So he's 1 spot ahead because I just haven't flipped him. But those are 2. The Bengals can't, just for everyone knows this by now. But if you don't, the Bengals are atrocious against tight ends. You could start maybe the 3rd string tight end. I'm unsure.
Yes, you can. The Steelers, if you did that with the Steelers back several weeks ago.
So bad.
And look, Likely just faced the Bengals in week 13, had 5 for 95 on 6 targets, and that was the game 2 where he lost the ball at the 1-yard line when he was about to score. So could have been a massive day, and that's kind of the theme of Isaiah Likely, just missing touchdowns so many times.
Yeah.
Well,
and the thing that's disappointing, well, I mean, Mark Andrews just signed that contract, so Isaiah Likely might be going somewhere. I mean, if you have Isaiah Likely in Dynasty, this offseason is going to be interesting if they re-sign him, if he goes somewhere else, but he still has a part-time role. And of course, that's because you have Mark Andrews over there. The last 2 games, though, he's held a route participation rate of 55% or less, which is just so disappointing. But again, against the Bengals, we have to prop him up. He's my tight end 12. Mark Andrews is my tight end 11 because they can't do it. You and I could go out there, right? Play tight end.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure about you, but I think I could. Yeah,
I could for sure. Now, I wouldn't, I can't jump as high as maybe some others out there, but I'm a little bit on the shorter end, but I don't know.
But yeah, this is a great spot. To begin with, the Ravens don't even utilize many of their receivers much in the passing game. It's Zay Flowers, and then they use the tight ends a lot. And again, this is a game where you have to. They just saw it 2 weeks ago. So likely he's coming off a week where he played 60% of the snap. Andrews was at 68. But likely is going to get open. So I do like him in this spot quite a bit. It's just, it has worked every week. Everyone knows it. The Bengals obviously know it, and they still can't do anything to stop it. So
kind of sad.
It's great for fantasy.
Oh, it's great. No, it's sad.
I mean, even last week you mentioned 3 tight ends. Jackson Haas scored a touchdown. He only had 1 catch for 3 yards, but he had a touchdown. Kincaid was 4 for 41 and a touchdown. Knox was 6 for 93 and had a touchdown call back. So, and then
he said start the backups. Go ahead.
yeah. And then again, Andrews had 4 for 47 against Cincinnati. That's pathetic, actually, to be honest. Like 4 for 47 against the Bengals, and then you sign him after that. What are the Ravens doing?
It was weird. I guess I just, that's not our job. So I didn't really understand. I was excited as someone just watching Isaiah Likely to see if they were going to turn to the future, right? To turn a little bit younger, go that way, but they're not. I wonder if Cleveland's not going to do the same thing with David Njoku now. But I don't know.
But but Fannin is really established himself. Good. So like that kind of makes sense. And Njoku's a very good player at this point still.
He is. He's banged up. We'll have to see if he practices today. He went down. I believe that was a knee injury on Sunday that he went down with. So we'll see if he's out. It doesn't matter though. Harold Fannin is that guy. But yeah, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, if you have either of those guys going up again against Cincinnati this weekend. Zay Flowers, I mean, shout out. It was the second time he's had over 100 yards. The first time was week 1, by the way. 124 yards, 8 receptions against Pittsburgh. So he's also 20 fantasy points. You were at least happy with that. Second time, he's hit 20 plus fantasy points this year. I've not drafted him in a couple years, and I don't feel necessarily bad about that.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what kind of Lamar Jackson we get this weekend. He at least got, fantasy managers points last week. We said if you can't do it, against 2 good teams for him, going up against those 2 defenses, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, he at least got you 21, and he was running a little bit more.
Yeah, I saw like some people pegging him for a breakout this year, and I was like, how's it going to happen? Like, you can't have a breakout with 3-4 touchdowns.
Oh,
yeah. Like, it's just, and that's the biggest problem. I just don't see him scoring touchdowns. He's not a big receiver. He's not a red zone threat. And we see what the Ravens do. It's the tight ends in the red zone or Derrick Henry. So that's the problem with Flowers. And yeah, Lamar Jackson being out and then not healthy has definitely hurt him for sure. But he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. So that's going to limit his fantasy numbers. I mean, he's going to finish with probably over 1,000 yards. He might finish with 80, 85 catches, but what good is that with 1 to 3 touchdowns? It's not good enough. Again, solid, very solid, but you can't take that leap to the next level. And this is a year too where receivers haven't been great. Like when you start looking at the points per game, a lot of these receivers in that 12 to 30 range, they're really close.
Yeah, I'm looking at Isaiah Flowers last season too. I mean, he's just not, it was wide receiver 3 finishes back-to-back seasons, 12.8, 12.3 points per game. That's what he's given you.
Yeah.
His ADP, he was like round 5 this year. Consensus ADP, I want to say too. So it's not like he was pushed up.
Yeah, there might have been some drafts where he went ahead of Pickens.
It's just, the whole nature of this offense, right? They've got a negative 4% coming into the year, 4% drop back rate below expected. Like, that they were going to lean into the run. His ADOT, he never put up big touchdown numbers. Yeah, I don't know. But again, you're happy with the 20 points he got you, and maybe they can do it again against Cincinnati. This will be, imagine a dud from the Ravens. Stop. We can't. First week of the playoffs? No.
Yeah,
they
really need this game too. They still have a chance to win this division, as bleak as things look. And after that loss to Pittsburgh, but they got to get this win here. They are favored by 2.5. The total is 52.5.
Okay.
It will be 15 degrees though in Cincinnati, but I guess both teams are used to the cold. Just catch the football.
DK Metcalf, he had to stay overnight after that game against Baltimore because of a stomach issue. They said that it looks like he's going to be good to go. But hey, that was you. Listen, if you needed DK Metcalf in a spot last week to get you into the fantasy playoffs, he did deliver for the first time since I want to say maybe week 8, week 6. 21.8 fantasy points, 7 receptions, 148 yards, 12 targets. Can he do that again against Miami?
Are they going to feed him the football? Because, where has this been all year? That's what I don't understand.
This is how it should be. Week
yes.
in and week out.
You went out and traded for this guy and gave him a ridiculous contract coming off one of his worst seasons. So, that should tell us, okay, they're going to feed him the football. And there's no other receivers there. And this was the first game this season that he had double-digit targets with 12. And just his second 100-yard game. First one since week 4. So there were people who benched him last week, and you really couldn't blame him. I mean, look at the stretch of games that he had before that. He just wasn't getting the football. So this kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if it's going to continue. this week. I mean, if they want to win, they should, right? The goal is get the ball in the hands of your best players. It should be Jaylen Warren and Metcalf getting the ball, but the Steelers don't believe in that. They don't believe in getting the ball to your best players. So it's a tough matchup here. Miami's defense has played a lot better.
They give up a little to quarterbacks, so at least for Rodgers.
Receivers, ninth fewest. Like they held I can't say held the Jets receivers because it was Brady Cook.
Say 80 Mitchell right now.
Olave had 47 yards. Vele had 93. Shakir 58. Flowers 64. So they've done a pretty good job. They've allowed only one receiver this year to get to 100 yards. That was Ladd McConkey in week 6. So they've really played a lot better. I mean, if you have Metcalf, you're probably starting him, but I don't think you can get what you got last week unless they keep feeding him the football. And it's something they've shown they just are unwilling to do this season. Which
is just so backwards to me and to you. It makes no sense to me why you would go, like you said, sign him to that contract that they did, let Pickens go and then just say, well, we're not actually going to feed you. I will say too, I mean, they're at the point this year where I think they're closing in on they're closing in on an NFL record 22nd consecutive season finishing 500 or better. That blows my mind every single time I see that stat.
And yet Steeler fans are unhappy.
Well, they're unhappy with Tom. I feel like we have this conversation every year. By this point in the season where you have a team that's maybe going to make the playoffs, but
let's be fair. They are a product of a bad division.
It's now, an early exit always. Yes.
What's going to be interesting is if they do win the division again and then go exit in the first round, which is certainly possible when you look at.
Do you not think that happens? I think that happens.
More than likely. I mean, I'm not still convinced that they make the playoffs. But then again, the Ravens have just looked so bad that can they do enough to overtake the Steelers? They play again next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not next week. They play last game of the year. Ravens Steelers last game of the year.
Or week 15. All I'll say is the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2017. I think that.
Oh boy.
What?
Looking at the Ravens schedule, I don't know. I mean, okay, even if they beat the Bengals this week, then they're home against the Patriots at Green Bay, and then they have to win at Pittsburgh. Boy, that means Harbaugh is probably gone.
You've seen fans asking for that too.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I understand it. At the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately? I think it'd be more frustrating. I was asking Sam Holtz, who's my friend. She's a Steelers fan. She works over at Fantasy Life with us. But I was asking her, is it not just more frustrating to not just lose? Like, would you rather be losing and then getting those draft picks, getting set up, or would you rather be in this spot where you're making your 500 or better every single year, but you haven't won a playoff game since 2017, and you know that you don't have a playoff caliber team? Like, we don't look at this team and say, yeah, they can run the table. I think that's more frustrating. But again, I'm not in that spot, so.
Look, I mean, on the bright side, at least their quarterback is younger than Phillip Rivers.
Gosh, get out of here. Poor Phillip Rivers, just taking shots everywhere. Maybe he'll surprise us. I hope he doesn't, because that means the Seattle Seahawks defense let Phillip Rivers look like the Phillip Rivers of old. And that would make me really, if they lose that game, I'm not even kidding. I'm not coming on Monday.
You're coming. I've been here after all these Cowboys losses this year.
Yeah, but we expect those.
No, man. We were just getting hot, lose to Detroit, and I showed up on Friday. That was a rough day.
That was a tough day. All right, we're going to continue on. I see some questions that we're going to get to as well, but it is time for Stock Watch. You know, looking at Stock Watch, seeing players if they're on the rise or if they're going to fall this weekend, and get to I see someone on the phone lines as well. So we're going to get to you. If you hang on just for a second, other Adam on the phone line, not you, Adam. You have to stick around for another 40 minutes for the show. We're going to do that. What is going on? Coming up next. Fantasy Life right here, getting you ready for week 15 in the NFL and the fantasy football playoffs. Congratulations to everyone that made it. And we can't forget about guillotine leagues, Adam. If you're still alive in guillotine leagues, that is a shout out to you as well. Speaking of, I see it's other Adam on the line. You don't have to ask me a question right now, Adam. We're going to go to Adam in Illinois, see what he has for us. Adam, what do you got for us?
How's it going, Kendall and Adam?
Good. How are you doing?
How's it going, guys? Good. So here's my question. I'm alive in a guillotine league, which is obviously a clutch at this point in time. And I currently have the most fab money left at 467. The next guy has about 392, and third has like 196. My team is absolutely stacked. I have Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, and Ashton Genty at running back, CeeDee Lamb, Puka, JSN, A.J. Brown at wide receiver. Do I empty the clip on Christian McCaffrey? And a couple other guys still left out there, James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and George Pickens. But obviously I have CD, so I'm not sure I want to go the Pickens route. But thoughts on emptying the clip on CMC?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would.
I would absolutely do it.
You said your opponent, the next closest guy with the most fab, has 392. I would put 393 on CMC because that guarantees you that you're going to get him no matter what. So I would put 393 on CMC because then at least you're playing keep away too. Like you could have a stacked league at him, but I've been looking through some. I'm alive in 3, and I've just wanted to try and take players off the board as well. He plays Tennessee this week. Week 15 against Tennessee, then goes at Indianapolis, finishes against Chicago.
Yeah, and look, he's coming off a bye week too. He's had a heavy workload this season. Now, the one thing too is they've gotten him, a lot of his work is in the passing game. Like for as much volume as he has 237 carries this season. So there's a good chance he stays, I guess, a little over 300, which is not too bad, but 85 receptions. So the thing is, the worst game for CMC this year, like the floor is just so high because of what he does in the passing game. He has not had a game fewer than 4 catches, and that came against Cleveland. Like we knew that was going to be a tough matchup, and he still came through with, what did he get in that game? Like over 20 points in a PPR. So they obviously are playing for a lot. They're trying to win the division still. They're playing for a playoff spot. So they're going to give him the football. I know they're mixing Brian Robinson in more, but it doesn't matter. They're giving Robinson carries, which is fine. You'd rather have McCaffrey more involved in the passing game, right? You'd rather see him catch 5, 6, 7 passes. You're okay if he gets 15 carries in a game. Mm-hmm. But, this week, obviously, they should be in control. But that could mean he gets 2 touchdowns before maybe sitting in the fourth quarter. But yeah, you just have to. And, he said, yeah, I'm really good at running back. I heard Breece Hall and Genty there. Those guys are very risky in guillotine leagues right now, especially Breece Hall if we get Brady Cook again. That's a problem. So you just do it. Look, maybe it doesn't work out. I would have no regrets. You got to get McCaffrey. He's either 1 or 2, right? It's either him or Gibbs right now.
Absolutely. Appreciate you calling in, Adam. And congrats on making it that far in guillotine leagues. And that's the other part. So if you go to guillotineleagues.com, or if you're in one right now, you can go and see you can go to the transactions list, or you can go to the fab. It's on the very far right-hand side. You can see how much everyone left in your league has, Adam. And that's why I think
did you do this in redraft leagues too?
Yes, it's the same concept when we're talking about fab everywhere. See what people need, especially if we're talking redraft, right? Okay, who needs especially when we were talking during the year, quarterback streamers. Who needs a quarterback? How much money do they have? How much money do I think they're going to spend? It's the same thing in guillotine leagues right now. I'm looking at one. I've got $24 left. The person that I'm going against has 30. So I kind of know, okay, the top players, maybe they're going to go for him, spend $25, get them. But that's when just like Adam, he only needs to spend, I say only, but you spend $293 on CMC. He still has $100+ left for the remainder of the season, which is, another couple weeks, but still, then how much to bid, and you can outbid them based on how much they have left as well. It's important.
Yeah. And McCaffrey could be, especially now when you get down to this point, pretty much the teams left all have stacked rosters, but a guy like McCaffrey could be the difference between you being chopped or surviving the week.
Yeah, exactly. So appreciate you calling in, Adam. Good luck going into this week. I wanted to go through a stock watch, maybe some other guys that are on the rise or falling down here, Adam, and what our expectations are. Let me start with Luther Burden, because DJ Moore where? I mean, what are we doing with DJ Moore? I don't know, but Luther Burden obviously had a week last week where we did not have Rome Odunze. I haven't seen an update yet if he should be back this week or not. I believe they said it was just a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, right.
Wow,
it's a stress fracture.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think he's playing. I think my guess is they play Green Bay next week, right? So my guess is they're going to
play Cleveland this week and then Green Bay. Yes.
Yeah, so they're going to view that as the bigger game. Obviously, every game is big for them, but my guess is they try to get him back for that one.
So Luther Burden to you, is he a riser or just kind of neutral right now? Even in a game though where DJ Moore didn't do anything, zero point 0.6 fantasy points last week, and then you did not have Roma Dunze. You look at Luther Burden, and you were kind of maybe hoping. I mean, you were hoping for a little bit more, but he had a season high 69% route participation, and kind of just settled in as a wide receiver 3. What do you expect here?
Yeah, wide receiver 3. I'm probably starting him in a league. Again, deeper league with 2 flex spots with the 3 receivers. So maybe I could see some people not playing him. Look, he's good. We know that. You're probably not going to see the full potential to next year. And, a lot comes down to the play of Caleb Williams. Again, we see him start these games slow. I thought he played well in the second half last week, but it still has not translated to great fantasy numbers. They're home this week. They're favored by 7.5. The total's 39.5. So yeah, we know they want to run the football. And again, when Caleb is putting the ball in the air, like the completion percentage is like slightly over 50%. He's still missing quite a lot. So, you look at his completions, 16, 19, 17, 19, it's really hard for anyone to put up like a huge fantasy game. So they're having success running the football a lot. That's probably what's going to continue to happen. And, with Burden, you're hoping you could get double-digit points in a PPR, and can he find the end zone? That's going to be the key. But he's moving up. But usually, right, a guy like Odunze goes out, you're like, oh yes, this guy's gonna go off. But it's just tough to do in this offense right now.
Yeah, he's it is difficult in this offense. I'm excited. We've talked about this, but I'm excited to see where he goes in drafts next season. Like I'm going to be pretty high on Luther Burden because I just think that he has a role fit for this offense, fit with Ben Johnson that's going to be good. And so I think he's a talented player. I heard Ian Hartitz compare him to Jaden Reed right now, where you're looking at him and just the expectations, the route participation, everything else like that. So I think he has a better path to more playing time. I don't like DJ Moore. He's been ranked ahead of DJ Moore for me for the last 3 weeks. I think.
Does DJ Moore still play football?
Weeks. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what happens in the offseason. He's probably not coming back though, right? What's his contract?
I look, it's
been weird.
He's been non-existent.
That's been
like
a fall that
like last week with no Odunze, you're like, oh, okay, it could be decent. Nope. And he's playing the most snaps too.
He had the 4-year, $110 million contract extension in July last year. It just doesn't feel like that's a fit, though.
It's not working.
It's not working. Technically, he's with the team through the 2029 season, 82.6 million guaranteed. There was tension before the season started. He hasn't, again, done much this season. So we'll see. Well, it's going to be a wait and see kind of thing. Kenneth Gainwell, stock watch, riser, faller, or neutral over the last 3 games for Kenneth Gainwell, minus 2 weeks ago. Minus 2 weeks ago, he got you 6.5, but I should actually say the last 4. 29.5 fantasy points against Cincy, 18.2 against Chicago, 6.5 against Buffalo, and then last week, 16.2 against the Baltimore Ravens. They take on Miami again on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a riser. He's been more involved in the offense. It's kind of a split.
Yeah.
It's more involvement in the passing game for Gainwell, though. He's not gotten a lot of carries on the ground the last couple weeks. And then when he had that big game against Chicago, 55 yards came on the fake tush push. So you got to take that into account. But, I mean, look, I don't think he's someone that you really want to start right now. But if something were to happen to Jaylen Warren, then you'd see a massive increase. But if you're in a deeper format or you're desperate, you could plug him in there and you just hope that the reception's there. He's got at least 6 catches in 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah. And over 25 yards for the last 4 as well. 81, 30, 25, 27.
Yeah, so that passing game usage is there for them, and I guess part of it is they really don't have a receiver outside of DK Metcalf. They really don't use
outside of the
else.
guy they paid so much money for. Yeah,
yeah, and they still don't even use him enough. So
yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, it's hurting Warren a little bit because they're basically playing roughly 50% of the snaps each of them the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean Warren, at least he's finally, he's finding the end zone, which helps a little bit. I think he scored, right? He scored he scored week 13, week 12. And then he had one through the air against Baltimore. So 15 fantasy points last week. He's giving you, he's averaging, it looks like around 12 fantasy points per game. So yeah, finishing things out, Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, week 17 for Cleveland.
Yeah,
so
it's not a good schedule.
it's not easy. A 52% route participation rate and 18% target share, like you said, for Gainwell. So it is taking a little bit away from Warren.
Yeah, Warren 12 touches in week 13 and last week 11. I thought there was a point probably middle of the year where I'm like, okay, Warren is a solid RB2 now, because it looked like he was getting like 18 to 20 touches, and then
16,
they've scaled back.
13, 16. It was week 7 and 9 against Cincy, Green Bay, and the Colts. He was getting 19, 16 fantasy points.
If we were doing that, we'd be like, yeah, his stock is up. Finally, if they're giving him the ball. And then we've seen a lot of Gainwell the last 3 games.
We have. Again, not the easiest schedule, too. So you have to keep an eye out on that. But Gainwell, at least someone that, if you're in those deeper formats and you picked him up, maybe he is flex worthy-ish to you. I think he's a RB3 high end, but he does sometimes have RB1 upside, low end RB1 upside is what I should say there. I've got more questions for you here at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. You can find all of our rankings at fantasylife.com. This is from Michael. Since we were talking about Jacoby Brissett versus the Vikings matchup with the Cowboys, should I play JJ McCarthy over Jacoby Brissett? Ooh. Let me look at my rankings. I think I have Brissett ranked higher.
Yeah, look.
But it's kind of close.
I guess, look, the Texans, as we mentioned, have been death on quarterbacks. I was going to say you hope for 250 and 2 touchdowns for Brissett. That might be asking a lot, though.
I have them back to back. I've got Brissett at 17 and JJ McCarthy at 18.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I could see going McCarthy. I really could against, again, Dallas. You can pass against them. And Brissett just has the difficult matchup.
Do decisions matter like this to you in the fantasy playoffs where you look and you say, I'm a favorite in this game, and you just try and go with the safer play, which might be Brissett, or you look at the projections and you say, I need a lot to win this. I'm just going to roll the dice with McCarthy.
No, I'm just trying to play the better guy that I think is going to score the most points.
Well, great. So everything that we do every single week in fantasy.
Yeah, I would. Boy, I think I would go McCarthy.
That's crazy.
I understand Jacoby Brissett has been really good, but what makes you think that he's the guy that's going to crack the Texans defense? Unless the Texans show up and take them lightly, right? Because the Texans have become.
I don't think they will.
They're coming off an emotional high, a Sunday night game, winning in Kansas City. I know Kansas City's not the same team, but that was a massive victory. They made Mahomes look bad. They made the offense look bad. How do they have a letdown here, right? It's easy. You're playing a team that's lost 10 of 11. So that's the way is an emotional letdown. But we spoke about it with Matthew Berry. He's right in the sense that they've been involved in these shootouts, right? Mm-hmm. Are the Texans going to open a 24-0 lead? They kind of don't play like that. They could be a 14-0 game, 17-0 game. Are the Cardinals going to be able to pick up first down after first down against this defense? It's really difficult to envision. Now, we've also said Brissett has gone against some good defenses and put up numbers. He against Seattle, 250 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Like, if you telling me we can get that, yeah, I feel fine starting him. But they just shut down Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. So it's difficult to say that Brissett's going to do the same. I think you got to sit him.
We have them projected for 15.8 fantasy points. And I guess it's the game script where, like you said, Adam, they're behind, but are they going to get those first downs? You know that they're going to just probably be playing from behind most of this game. So that's the only other thing you look at with Brissett. I might switch it. I've got Brissett one
They
spot
also,
higher,
their left tackle got hurt this past week for the Cardinals.
Yes. Yeah. Sure did.
That's not, you don't want that against this Texas defense. Yeah, Paris Johnson got hurt. He's got an MCL injury. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
It's tough because
Fantasy,
like you ride Brissett every week. He's
and
taking you to
then
this
this is the
point,
one
and then you're
week.
like, oh boy.
I know. It's a tough matchup. But it's a great question though. All of our rankings are at fantasylife.com, so that's where you can go and check those out. I've got more. I've also seen more questions here coming in at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis again. And I've got an update on Mike Evans. So let's give this update on Mike Evans, a little bit of news here. We're going to give that to you coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity. All the games all in one place. And here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. And it's a lot. You get the Sports Zone, every pro football game, over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You get the multi-view, one of my favorites because you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. You also get the Xfinity fan view. So that means live scores, odds, and stats all in one place and personalized to you and the teams that you actually like and care about. Enhanced 4K and that voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. A couple pieces of news that we have coming into this segment. It looks like you want the good news or the bad news? What do you want, Adam?
I know what they both are, but let's go with the good.
All right, let's start with the good news. I like that. Optimistic to start off this segment here. Looks like Mike Evans. There's news going around that it looks like Mike Evans will make his return. This is a Thursday night game, so he will be playing tomorrow, going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Looks like Bulls said Mike Evans has shown everything he needed to show in practice to get activated and make his return on Thursday. So the big question, I guess, now is where do we put him? We know Mike Evans and what he can bring to this team. We know that Emeka Egbuka has not been doing much. I think it's going to be difficult for me, Adam. In my initial look through wide receiver 22, I feel like that feels fair. But what are you doing if you're a Mike Evans manager right now?
I think you're playing him. He might be limited. We'll wait and see, but I think he'll be in there, especially in the red zone, right? That big receiver. He's got the rapport, Baker Mayfield. He could throw it up to him. He can go get it. Obviously, they need this game. They're playing for a lot. They're fighting for a division title, which is probably why they're trying to push him to play a little bit. They're favored by 4.5 at home. Totals 44.5. Don't have to worry about weather. So, yeah, I think if you have Evans, for the most part, you're playing it. We talked about how the receiver position is just so questionable. Yeah. Once you get past like 14, 15, like you can make a case for sitting all those guys, but it's like, well, we can't. We have to start 2 to 3 receivers depending on a format and a flex. So we have to get guys in there. So yeah, I think if I have Evans, I'm playing him. I did pick him up in a league a couple weeks ago. I'm starting him. That league does have like 3 flex spots, I think, or no, I think it's 3 receivers, 2 flex spots, and a super flex spot. So it's pretty deep. But I will get him in there. I have Egbuka on the same team though. But I think this.
Would you play both of them?
I think you can. I know everyone doesn't want to play Egbuka right now. I still think the target share is going to be there. They don't. Kate Otten is doubtful. Not that matters, but like that's another guy that we always play him only when they're really shorthanded.
Yep.
But this is something we talked about during the break. Is Baker Mayfield's not passing the ball a lot anymore. Like he has played really poorly. Like everyone is pointing to Egbuka and the drops. A lot of the other plays they're just not catchable passes. So Baker Mayfield has really struggled. So getting Evans back will help him too, because you can just throw it up. He can go get it. It will ease some of the pressure on Egbuka. I still think he'll get targets. He's gotten like 8 targets every single game. So maybe this helps Egbuka a little bit, get some of the defensive attention and pressure off him too.
I've got a question here from Michael over on X at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. If you guys want to send some in, how should I navigate having Egbuka and Evans on my team once Evans comes back fully healthy? Let's assume on this one, Adam, you can only start. Let's assume this is a regular like ESPN league, right? 2 receivers, 1 flex. What would you do if you have both Egbuka and Evans?
Right now I lean Evans. Again, I would want to hear, if they, I don't know, sometimes they say, yeah, the guy's going to be limited and he's not. So I'd probably just go with Evans. Even if he is limited, he's going to be in there inside the 20. And that's what matters. Because even if he's playing limited snaps, he could go out there and get a touchdown with like 50 yards and a few catches. So they're going to use him in those high leverage spots. So I think I lean Evans at this point with Egbuka's struggles. If you're in a shallow format, you can only start 1.
The other piece of news here, not good news, one that we probably saw coming, though. Unfortunately, it looks like the Cardinals are not activating running back Trey Benson. So he is going to be out for the rest of the season, because if you have a player that's on IR and you are not able to activate him with that practice window opening, then they are done for the rest of the year. So you've got Bam Knight, you've got Mari DiMercado with a questionable tag next to him, and then you've got Michael Carter the rest of the way. Bam Knight, though, is someone that I guess if you picked up off waivers, because he wasn't someone that we were necessarily drafting, that it hasn't been awful. Last week, 6.4 fantasy points, but before that, 14.5, 13.2, 16.8. So he gets involved in the passing game, gets some work on the ground as well. So if you have him, you're looking at that and maybe saying, all right, well, I get him the rest of the way. Taking on Houston, not an easy team. Taking on Atlanta, and then finishing with the Cincinnati Bengals, though.
Yeah, look, if I'm hoping Bam Knight leads me to the GST title.
That would be crazy.
My RB too.
Involved in the.
No, he does.
Receiving work is, yeah.
Yeah. Now again, I think this week obviously is a big problem. And the other factor is too, you will usually see more Michael Carter when they're playing from behind in obvious passing hurry up mode. So this probably shapes up as a better game for Michael Carter. Not that you want to start either against the Texans, because they probably aren't going to put up a lot of points. So, but yeah, if you do have Bam Knight, then after this week, you have a starting running back. Although again, he's not going to rank in the top 24 most weeks, but you could be desperate like me and you hope that he can come through.
Pittman, Jaden Reed, or Evans, half-point PPR from Brandon. I'm going Evans.
I'm going Evans.
And it's not actually close.
Well, look, Pittman, Pittman, you're worried about the quarterback situation. And with Reed, they have a tough matchup against Denver, and he's not on the field all the time. He only usually plays in 3 wide. Now Watson could be taken out by Surtain. That could open up for Reed. But now I'm going Evans here. Evans.
I'm going to go Evans there as well. Appreciate you sending that in, Brandon. Again, at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. We've got more of your questions that we're going to get to. More quarterback streamers I want to talk about as well. I know we've mentioned Aaron Rodgers so far in the show, but others that might be good matchups this weekend. We're going to break it down coming up next. You are listening to us right here on this Wednesday. Hopefully everyone's having a great start to their day. I see a ton more questions, Adam, because it is crunch time. We are in the fantasy playoffs for most right now, going into the weekend, making those tough calls. And so I see one here from Jeff. Appreciate you listening to us, Jeff. I have Gadsden, Loveland, Likely, Gesicki, and Mason Taylor are all available. Should I ride Gadsden or drop him for one of the others for the playoffs or just for this week? I would drop someone if you can get. I have Likely ahead. Isaiah Likely going up against the Bengals. You want to stream him this week?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. Gadsden has really fallen off.
Gesicki is interesting too with no Higgins. I mean, he's more like a slot receiver, but it's still risky. I definitely like Likely better.
I think if you get Isaiah Likely, though, you do have to stream. You have to stream the rest of the way, because Isaiah Likely isn't someone where we say he's got a great schedule. We love the we love all the targets that he's getting, his playing time, everything like that. So that's one where you'd have to just kind of go back and maybe you pick up. We'll have to see what he looks like this week. Darren Waller, the Dolphins schedule for tight ends and just for everyone in general is really nice. So maybe you go Darren Waller the next week, because they also play maybe we just go up and try and get every tight end facing Cincinnati. And I'm actually not kidding. Like maybe that's something you do.
Absolutely work. And it is not a joke. It is absolutely serious. We have seen it. It is something that we do every week. Who's playing the Bengals? Okay, we're looking at for fantasy, their prop, touchdown prop, whatever it is, because it is the gift that keeps giving.
Keeps on giving. So appreciate that message. But yeah, I'd go get, I think, Isaiah Likely there. But like Adam said, if you like Gesicki a little bit more, then maybe you look to him. We got a lot of tight end questions today. Another one here from Micah saying, do I keep rolling out Tyler Warren or do I play Dalton Kincaid this week?
I'm gonna go Kincaid.
Yeah, I am too. I think I need to drop Tyler Warren even more now.
Yes.
I've got him at 8. And I've got Kincaid at 10.
Again, the only bright spot is Seattle is vulnerable against the tight end. That's where you can get production on them, but let's see who the quarterback is. Hey, look, if it is Phillip Rivers, maybe he'll just dump it off real quick. He's like, oh no,
That's
pass
what I'm
rush.
saying. Like, I think out of all the players that I've downgraded on that team for the Colts, Tyler Warren's the one I've done the least of, because I just think that maybe he can be that security blanket for whoever's out there, and he will be getting the targets. That's the only bright spot I see.
Yeah, still worried about him, but
Well, yeah.
that's the only hope is that he gets rid of it really quickly.
He's 44 years old, by the way. He's a grandpa.
Yes, he's a grandfather.
I love that. Christian Watson Christian Watson or Mike Evans from Carey.
Who was it?
Christian Watson or Mike Evans.
Oh boy, I mean, I've been rolling with Watson
I
every
know.
week, but this is a really tough matchup here. I mean, look, we did see McLaurin have success against Surtain.
Well, you're expecting him to get Surtain.
Probably,
That's what
yeah.
we talked about.
But the thing with Watson is all it takes is play for him to come
And
through in fantasy.
That's what he's been bringing him.
I'd probably lean Evans right now, but I also want to see if they give us more detail on if he's going to be limited or not. And again, a lot of that stuff turns out to be false. How many times we hear, yeah, you're going to be limited, and they want to play in a lot.
I mean, the offense for Jordan Love right now, it's like a big part of it is the explosive plays, and that's what Christian Watson's been providing. You look at some of those touchdowns. He scored a 51-yard touchdown over the last 2 weeks. He's going to try and keep it rolling. This is the best defense, though, in Denver, and everyone's playing for a lot right now, but they really want to get this done. So I think I would go Evans right now to start. Tough decisions this week, Adam. I'm excited. We're going to continue going through your guys' questions here coming up tomorrow. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com, though. Sign up for that newsletter. Check out all of our rankings, though. If we didn't get to your question, go over there. My rankings are 100% free, so you can check them out there. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us. We're going to see you same time here tomorrow. Enjoy your day.